You've probably heard this idea before, right? That deep down, hidden inside your own mind is the key to overcoming a powerful addiction. That if you could just tap into your subconscious, you could basically rewrite your own programming and be free. It's a super compelling idea, a really popular one. But is it actually based in reality, or is it just wishful thinking? Well, today we're going to dig in and find out. So let's just dive right in with the big question. Can the hidden power of your mind, all by itself, truly conquer something as tough and complex as addiction? To get a real, credible answer, we have to look at the science. Okay, so to really get to the bottom of this, we first need to do a little bit of translation work. We have to take this popular, kind of fuzzy concept of the subconscious mind and figure out how it lines up with the actual precise language of psychology and neuroscience. So our first scientific term is implicit cognition. The best way to think about this is all the mental stuff that's humming away under the surface without you even noticing. It's where your gut feelings and snap judgments come from. Now, in addiction, this is huge. It's how a certain place or a person or even a feeling can instantly, automatically trigger a powerful craving. Next up, we have automatic habits. This one's pretty easy to wrap your head around. You know, when you repeat a behavior over and over and over again, your brain basically carves a path for it. Eventually, it becomes automatic. It's like your brain puts it on autopilot. And this is exactly why addictive behaviors can feel so completely out of your control. Okay, so we've got these unconscious thoughts and these autopilot behaviors. The thing that brings this all together is a framework that scientists call dual process models. And the core idea here is absolutely fascinating. It suggests that our actions aren't coming from one single unified mind. Instead, our behavior is the result of a constant tug of war between two very different systems in our brain. So let's take a closer look at this internal struggle. What exactly are these two competing systems that are always battling it out inside our heads? On one side, you have the impulsive system. This is the fast, automatic, gut reaction part of you. It's all about immediate reward. It sees a trigger and it basically screams, I want that and I want it now. But on the other side, you have the executive system. This is the slow, deliberate, thoughtful part. It's like the CEO of your brain trying to weigh the long-term consequences and hit the brakes. All of us are constantly navigating the push and pull between these two. And here is the absolute crux of the problem. Addiction hijacks this entire system. It completely throws the balance out of whack. The repeated use of a substance supercharges that fast, impulsive system. It gets louder, stronger, and more demanding. And at the exact same time, the slower, more deliberate part of the brain, the part that's supposed to control those impulses, it gets weaker. The fight becomes incredibly one-sided. And I want to be crystal clear here. This isn't just a metaphor. These are real, measurable, physical changes that happen in the brain. The reward circuits, fueled by dopamine, they become hypersensitive, just screaming for a fix. The brain's learning pathways get rewired to make the substance the top priority above everything else. And the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that's responsible for good decision-making and impulse control, it literally gets worn down. This is a biological problem, not just a simple failure of willpower. So when you look at it like that, it can feel a little bleak, right? But the really big question becomes, is it possible to fight back? Can these supercharged automatic habits actually be reprogrammed? Let's look at the evidence-based tools that aim to do just that. And this really gets to the heart of what recovery is all about. The science is so clear on this. Change is absolutely possible. But it's not about magic or wishful thinking or just telling yourself to be better. It requires active, structured work using therapeutic methods that have been proven to work. One of the most powerful, most well-researched tools we have for this is cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. You can almost think of it as a practical training manual for your brain. First, you learn to become a detective. You identify the specific triggers and automatic thoughts that kickstart the whole cycle. Then, you learn how to actively challenge and reframe those thoughts when they pop up. Step 3 is all about building a new toolkit of healthier coping skills. And finally, you practice these new skills so you're ready to prevent a relapse. So now, with all this in mind, we can finally circle back to our original question and give it a real evidence-based answer. When is focusing on these automatic processes the key, and when is it simply not enough on its own? So let's break it down. When does this approach really shine? Well, we see it works best for things like behavioral addictions or in the very early stages of a substance use problem. It's also super effective when someone has a strong motivation to change and is in a supportive, low-trigger environment. But it's often not enough by itself when you're dealing with severe physical dependency and withdrawal, or if there are other mental health issues going on, or if someone is just stuck in a really high-stress, trigger-filled environment. So, what's the final verdict here? While reprogramming these automatic habits is an absolutely critical piece of the recovery puzzle, the scientific consensus is clear. For moderate to severe addiction, it is almost never the entire solution by itself. A truly effective, comprehensive treatment plan has to be integrated. It combines those evidence-based therapies like CBT with medical care, which might include medication to help manage cravings and withdrawal. It also absolutely requires strong social and community support. You can't do it alone. And it means taking practical steps like changing your environment to get away from triggers. All of these pieces have to work together. And that's really the big takeaway. Lasting change isn't about finding some magic switch in your mind. It's about the hard, systematic work of rebuilding your habits, rebuilding your thought patterns, and, so crucially, rebuilding the support systems around you. So this leaves us with one last important question to think about. Knowing all of this, how can we change the way we talk about addiction and recovery? How can we move past all the simplistic myths and instead have a conversation that is both more scientifically realistic and ultimately a whole lot more supportive of people who are on that incredibly difficult path?